Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Ready to rock?
Let's roll.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Monday evening, wherever you are in the world. Anthony, I've got one question. How was it?
How was what?
The tour of Iraq.
My tack hunt. Listen. Tack hunt fish sent me this shirt, and I'm telling you, man, these things are nice. I opened it up upstairs. I got the package today, and my wife was like, "Where are you gonna wear that to?" I was like, "I'll wear this motherfucker all day. I don't even care. I'll wear this all day."
No, it's cool, man. It's cool.
I like it. It's funny. You were just already giving me a little bit of shit. Because I had planned on sending this in a text message, but I figured I'd wait till we were here in person.
Okay, this is going to be good. Go ahead, please.
How about you not letting Bryce Mitchell pray, you devil-worshipping, God-hating son of a bitch?
I'm a Satanist. Listen, I have to be. And what did Bryce allegedly say? It's an eye for an eye. That's why Satan sent Bisping is a one-eyed cyclops from hell or something, which, by the way, he never said. Said. Bless him. He sent me a DM. Because there's a meme going around where it said, Bisping is what is it? I've got it here. The Bible says eye for an eye, and that's why Michael Bisping wouldn't let us pray. He's a cyclops from hell. And God bless him. Bryce messaged me and said, "Hey, brother, you will never see a video of me saying that in my life. I promise on my life I didn't say that. I know you stopped the prayer because we had time restrictions, but trust me, brother, I didn't make fun of your eye. I know that you got that from a steroid cheat. I respect you, and I don't believe that. It's extremely rude, and I would never say anything like that. That would make me look like a terrible person." So I'll just respond to everyone that's giving me shit, saying Bryce has no issue with it whatsoever. Okay, but first of all, shout out to Bryce Mitchell. Last episode,
he sent me a couple DMs too after the show. He couldn't have been kinder. Guest
of the year so far. I mean, he was amazing.
Agree with it or not, he's a fun guy, and he's great on the mic. He speaks his heart. Like we talked about that before. He's unapologetically himself. Doesn't matter whether you agree with him or not.
Oh, disagree majorly. You know what I mean? But that's what makes the world such a great place. You know what I mean? If we all were on the same page, it would be a very, very boring world to be in. You know what I mean? So that makes it fun. Regarding the so-called controversy, which there is no controversy, immediately after, they walked back to the changing rooms or whatever, they walked past the commentary booth, and he walked past, he banged me on the shoulder. He's like, "Man, we blew that podcast up. That was awesome." So he was great. He was amazing, and he was awesome in the cage. Very close fight with Dan Ige. But just to address the so-called controversy, he had his time. He was talking for a while, and then in my ear, they're like, "Yeah, we got to move on. We got the main event to get to." So it was no conspiracy. There was no not letting him pray or anything like that. But let's just explore that eventuality. Let's just say, I said, "Yeah, sure, okay, I'll get down on my knees and pray with you, on the microphone." Number one, I'm very honest and open. I'm not a religious person, so that would be hypocritical. Number two, I don't make those decisions. I haven't got the right to be saying whether or not we're going to engage in a prayer. The UFC do not give a damn about anything like that. It's TV schedules. As you know, Anthony, every second of the airtime is counted for and produced. We get formats, from 3 minutes something to this, to that, to an advert, to an ad read, to a promo for the pay-per-view, for this, to a feature on the main event. It's all highly produced, and they've got to move the show. And so in my head, they're like, "Yeah, we've got to wrap this up. We've got to move on." And that's every interview, by the way. Muhammad Usman had a great win. And in there, they're like, "Okay, one question. If he goes long in his answer, so if he's short in his answer, you can ask 2. But if it's a long answer, make it 1 point." That's the example I'm making. That's right. Just the way it always is. There's no conspiracy, and there's not me going, I'm not going to let you pray.
Yeah, like I try to explain to people, because sometimes we'll do those UFC live shows, and those are 30-minute shows. That's with commercials when we're working the pre-shows. That's 19 and a half minutes or something like that of actual analysis and talking about fights. And then you got commercials and all the other stuff. Some people are like, well, they seem like they don't even really care about this fight. I literally have someone in my ear while I'm trying to tell you what I'm telling you, telling me to shut up, because every second I go longer than they had anticipated I was going to go, they have to cut that somewhere else. So if Bryce's interview is scheduled to be X amount of time and he goes 45 seconds longer, they got to find 45 seconds somewhere else later down the show. So it's I know that it's kind of flattering. I know we make it look really easy, but it's very hard to you're directing traffic in your head while you're also trying to stay on topic. You're trying to listen to the answer that Bryce is giving you so you can give a follow-up question if you have to. Plus you got people talking. It's harder than it looks.
And very well put, by the way. And of course, there's way harder jobs out there. There's people that bust their ass day in, day out. But it is tough. Just to pull the curtain back a little bit, the producers, as you say, will be live on air. And they're talking, they're directing us because that's their job. And sometimes they'll give a countdown, to where it's going to cut to commercial break. So you've got to finish your thoughts whilst talking. But the guy's going 10, 9, 8, 7, and it's so distracting, but you do learn a skill. You do acquire the skill over time to be able to do that, because it is very hard in your ear. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. In the past, I used to say, can we just go 10, 5, 3, 2, 1? Because I get it, but hey, welcome to the world of television, so, which is a sentence I never thought I would be saying. Let's start with the fight with Bryce Mitchell. What were your thoughts on the fight? I thought, obviously, he used the wrestling to great effect. I thought Dan Ige had a really strong opening round. So I'll be honest, I was a little puzzled at the 30-27 scorecards. I thought Ige probably won the first round. How do you feel about that statement?
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I thought he started strong. He's really good, man. But Bryce is such a specialist when it comes to the wrestling. He can lose every part of a round. If he gets a takedown, he's going to win everything after that. If he can get to a dominant position, he's really good there. I would like to see Bryce round out his game a little bit. He's obviously got power in his hands. He dropped Barbosa at one point in time. He landed some nice shots on Ige here and there. But he's just such a specialist when he gets to his spots. I think you're right. I think Ige probably won the first round. I thought the second 2 rounds were pretty clear. Bryce, he had a mount position a couple times. He had back control. He was when they were on the ground, it was one-way traffic for
dominant.
It was dominant.
Yeah, no, it was great. And it was a hard-fought victory, so I'm not taking it away. Well done to Dan Ige, because he is phenomenal, as you say. But Bryce Mitchell, the grappling, he's so good. Once he gets top position, the downward pressure and the control that he has really is very impressive to watch. It really is.
He funnels people better than I've seen in a long time. Where he wants to go to the back, so he'll get to mount. And he kind of chases that arm triangle a little bit. But if he's not getting it, then he'll jump to side control, knowing that most people are going to turn away and they're going to give their back up to try to get to the fence. So he just does such a good job there. He's super elite in those positions.
Yeah, the wherewithal that he has to know that his opponent's moving, to jump, to be one step ahead, because that's what you're always trying to do.
How about that back take when he was about to lose it?
That
pulled himself
phenomenal.
back up. That's high level.
Because we all know, if you're skilled enough, we all know what the counter to what we're doing is. And when they start moving, we know what they're going for. So you've got to, as I said, it's chess. But the chessboard, you can smash over someone's head. I said that on the microphone. It just came into my head. I do want to go back to the fight before that real quick to talk about Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson.
Yeah.
Of course, Rodriguez was phenomenal, but I want to give a special mention to Michelle Waterson. I mean, she showed some tremendous heart. We'll get to how good and how violent Rodriguez was in a minute, because she was. But Michelle Waterson, she's had a long career. She's been in a few main events now. I think it's 5. That was hard to watch. And, she's got family, she's got children. There was a lot of support for her in the building. Those knees and elbows from Rodriguez, pardon me, they were devastating. And that's the difference, with the knees, the points of the elbows, they just slice you open. I remember, I think it was the end of the first round. She's covered in blood and she's smiling away, saying, "No, I'm good. I'm fine." I just thought, fair play to that woman.
Man, she's been around so long too. She's been a really long time. A long time ago, I remember going to Jackson's with an older friend and teammate who had been around a long time. He was already in the UFC. I was trying to make it there. And she was around then. That was 2011, maybe 2010. So, I mean, she's been around a really long time. And she's got such heart, and you've never seen her quit. She's always in kind of dog fights like that. She's always been right there kind of at the top. But I mean, at the end of the day, Father Time is undefeated, and she's not a really young lady. She's got, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful, kind of way. It's
37.
She's been doing this a long time. So on top of, getting up there as far as competition age, she's young in life, but as far as competition wise, especially females, a lot of them are the female divisions tend to be a little bit younger. And she's just got a lot of miles, and I think you have to account for the miles when you're talking about people's age. Maybe I'm 35, but I'm probably 45 when it comes in terms to miles. And I think she's right on that same kind of track,
I'm 40, almost 45 in February. That's a depressing thought. I'm physically 70.
115.
Yeah, and mentally 16. I'm all over the place, And talking of miles on the clock, Tony Ferguson is back in here. We'll talk about that. He's been booked against Paddy Pimblett. All kinds of fight bookies to talk to, and we'll get to that. Marina Rodriguez said she wanted to insert herself back into the title discussion. I think she did that, so congratulations to her. And then we'll finish off on the roundup of the weekend's fights. I mean, there were some great fights. Well done to everyone, but we'll focus on the top three. Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Fiziev. Oh, man. I mean, you've been there, Anthony, in kind of a similar situation. Tom Aspinall, we're seeing this quite a lot, but I thought Fiziev looked really good in the first round. Obviously, Gamrot had success as well. Fiziev never got really a chance to display his greatness. There was a couple of times, there was one combination where he ripped to the body, like and upstairs, and he was so fast. I was like, wow, look at that. That is a phenomenal combination. And then, as we know, round two, throws the kick, and that was that. Do we know what the actual injury is yet?
I haven't read. I kind of looked around before we started because I knew we were going to talk about this. I haven't seen anything. It just, excuse me. It looked like just the way he rotated, like his body rotated, but maybe his foot didn't rotate on the mat. It just, you could just see a small little pop there in the replays. I was really looking forward, especially after the first round, where you could kind of see their game plan starting to come out, where Fiziev looked like he wanted to counter big on Gamrot's entries and make him pay for those takedown attempts. In the past, he hasn't really done a great job of making people pay for the takedown attempts. He's done a great job of defending them, but he hasn't done a great job of making people pay for it. So I thought he did a better job of kind of going to the body to keep Gamrot from being able to get under a lot of those punches. It was kind of cool to see like their game plan start to unravel a little bit. And it seemed like it was really starting to pick up. So it's just unfortunate. It sucks. I'm sure he feels like today he didn't get a fair shot at it. It sucks to have one more notch in the L column when you didn't really get a fair opportunity. If you take a loss and it's legit, then that's just is what it is. But but if I'm Gamrot, man, take it how you can get him. You know what I mean? It's there's nothing he can do about it. All you can do is you can't look backwards in this game. You got to just try to look forward.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles, sadly. And that sounds like kind of cold-hearted, but it is what it is. Two healthy people step into the octagon, even if you get injured by your own actions or someone else does it. If you can't continue, then it's a win for the other person. If you were in a real-life situation and you were fighting to the death and you went down and busted your knee up, they would have gone, oh, right, okay. And, of course, it's not a fight to the death in the street, but you get the point I'm making. Yeah, well done to Mateusz Gamrot. You got to say that. It was kind of like when Curtis Blaydes defeated Tom Aspinall via a very similar situation. Tom's a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. But you got to say, listen, two men entered that octagon healthy, and the victor was Curtis Blaydes, was Mateusz Gamrot, and so on and so forth. You got to say, well done. Now, speaking of that, I'd love to see Tom Aspinall go after Curtis Blaydes. I think that would be I think Curtis has got a matchup, but I'd like to see that rematch down the line for sure.
I would too. I think that those two guys are at the top of the division, right? So those guys are the tip of the spear in terms of elite heavyweights. And that's an interesting matchup. I think that's a good test for Tom as well. I think that would shut a lot of people up in terms of just dealing with Blades' high level wrestling and ground and pound.
Well, you want to get that one back though. Tom, I'm sure he's too much of a gentleman to say, to talk any crap about it, you know, which we all admire about the guy. But it must piss him off. Every time he looks at his record and see a loss, he threw one kick out about 20 seconds into the fight. I would be like, I want to run that one back. I do believe he's got a matchup, though. Harrington, if you know, correct me.
Jalton Almeida.
Oh, there you go. In Brazil.
I believe in Brazil.
Yeah, that's a tough fight too.
Sao Paulo, tough fight for both men. Okay, let's talk about Shopify really quick. And this is a massive tool for you. If you have a business, if you have an online presence, if you want an online presence, if you're an entrepreneur that's selling something, you got to get online and you want to do it in the cheapest, most convenient way possible, which is the least complicated way as well. And that is what Shopify offers. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide, right? As I said, it gets you online. It lets you accept every major payment method instantly. There's all kinds of tools at your availability. There is 24/7 support as well. There is an extensive business library. Shopify is there to support you every single step of the way. Shopify is packed with leading industry tools ready to ignite your growth. Shopify gives you complete control of your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills. You're never going to learn about computers or coding or any of that stuff. Shopify does it all for you. Shopify also covers every sales channel from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform. And it also lets you sell across marketplaces like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you got a business, it's time to get serious about that, okay? Get online, do it the cheapest way, the quickest way, and the most convenient way. Go with Shopify today. That is the possibility powered by Shopify. And this offer right now is incredible. Sign up for just $1 per month at shopify.com/believe. $1 a month. I mean, come on, take a chance. It's $1 per month when you go to shopify.com/believe to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/believe. As you know, Anthony, I'm going to ask you your experiences with this phenomenon. We're talking road rage. Yeah. I drive to and from Vegas almost every time because the fight finished at 7 p.m. I can walk in by 10:30, 10 o'clock. The fight, and because the main event finished quick, I was done at 6:40, something like that. I was like, I put it in my Waze. It said, you'll be home by 9:42. I thought, perfect. I'm going to knock 15, 20 minutes off that, pedal to the metal. And I'm going, it's going well. And then all of a sudden it jumps up. It says 10:14. I'm like, what the hell? Then it says 10:45. Then it says 11:10. I'm like, shit, go faster, race against the clock. Yeah. So I'm going like crazy. And then I get to an area called Hesperia, and the traffic, it's just madness. So the Waze takes me off through like some country mountain lane. It's pitch black. But of course, the Waze is saying that for everybody. You know what I mean? So we just get to standstill traffic. Nothing's happening. And there's 2 lanes and we're just not moving. We're not moving for like half an hour. We did not move at all. So, you know, I know you shouldn't look at your phone whilst you're behind the wheel of a car, but we weren't moving before you all start. So I'm looking at my phone and whatnot. And every so often you look up and it's gone on like 5 feet. So, you know, you close that distance and that's kind of the cycle. I looked to my left and the left lane was kind of going a little bit quicker. And there was a gap about 20 feet. And I thought, I'll take that lane. So I drive into that lane and this big truck drives up to not let me in. Do you know what I mean? But at this point, I'm already in. Do you know what I mean? So I stick to my guns. And he's honking his horn like crazy, right? And flashing his lights at me. Then he puts his window down. He's like, motherfucker, ba, 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 and all this. So I put my words, fuck you, off. You know what I mean? Yeah. He jumps out of the car.
From behind you.
Yeah. Because the traffic's not moving at all. Yeah. And I don't know what he was expecting. You know, maybe a skinny little wimp, you know, which is maybe what he saw because he was a big old boy. Let's just say he needs to lay off the burritos, this guy. He jumped out and he said, get out the fucking car. Let's go. Come on, motherfucker. You want to go? And I'm sitting there. I said, and I was very proud of myself. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't lose it. I'm not about to jump out the car and start fighting. If he'd have kicked the car or something, we would have had a different kettle of fish on our hands. But I'm like, fuck are you doing? He said, get out the car. I said, bro, trust me, you really don't want that to happen. And he's like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, dude, I was changing lanes. And he's like, well, I'm in a big truck with a trailer. I can't stop. I'm like, dude, we haven't been moving. It's not like we were going 60 miles an hour. I'm like, what the f- are you doing? Get the f- back in your car. And anyway, then he goes off and gets in his car. Question, you ever had a similar road rage incident?
Yeah, but it's mostly in my neighborhood. So I live in this, like, you know, it's a suburb of Omaha. It's just outside of town. And it's really quiet. There's a lot of kids though. Lots of kids. A lot of every road, like cross street, like my street is a dead end street. And then there's like the main street that goes in front. And then like the next road is a roundabout. And the next one's a roundabout or a dead end. So they're all like that. So there's like all the parents and kids and stuff. We all kind of congregate in these, you know, certain houses and driveways. We'll take the golf carts and park and let the kids play. So there's always these kids. Like I'm telling you a story where I'm the road rager. That's what I'm telling you.
Good. So that's what I want to hear. Anthony Smith losing his mind.
This has happened several times where there's these kids that go to this high school that's right down the road and they just zoom down the street. Well, there's a lot of little kids. Like they all feel very safe in the neighborhood because there's a lot of dead ends and roundabouts and not a lot of traffic. But sometimes there's these kids that just fly through the neighborhood. It's 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. But these motherfuckers will be doing like 45 through the neighborhood. And they use like these little, you know, little roundabout things. They're supposed to like slow traffic. They use those as like a, it's like they're in a racetrack. So anyways.
Yeah.
So I started running out in the road. Like I started yelling at people like, slow down, you know, like screaming. And then
you're that mean, grumpy guy on the neighborhood.
Yeah,
waving
so
your fist at them.
For sure. Then I started keeping golf balls like close to my chair and just whipping golf balls at people's cars.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. There's a guy down the street that used to run out in the street with a pitchfork because he'd get mad too.
Oh my God.
But there was these kids and they kept going back and forth. And so I yelled at them and they screamed back, fuck you. I said, well, turn around, motherfuckers. And I thought it was like adults, right? And so they go back down, they come back by my house flying. And I run out into the street and they try to go on the other side of the roundabout, block them, and then they roll their window up. But I get my fingers inside the window and just peel the window down. It's an entire car of like, I don't know, sophomores in high school. Like I thought there was a bunch of adults talking shit, but I had my fingers in his window.
Bunch of patos.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And I just lost my shit. But in the middle of it, I realized they're like 16 years old.
Kids.
So I just, then I went from like telling them that I was going to kill them to like, you guys really got to slow down.
You're giving a public service announcement all of a sudden, change the tone real quick.
Like I look like a real big piece of shit.
There's something about being behind the wheel of a car that does bring out sometimes the worst in people. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. It really is. But I'll tell you what, this seems like a natural segue, to be honest, into the Israel Adesanya news. I'm sure you saw that, right?
I did.
He was in court Monday morning, New Zealand time, pleaded guilty to drink driving. And it was an offense that happened 3 weeks before the Strickland fight. He was over the limit, 50 milligrams per 100 milliliters, something like that, whatever. The legal limit's 50, right? And he was 87.
It's not necessarily fair to him, though. Like he was at 87, but from 50 to 80 is a minor infringement. It's like a slap on the wrist and they'll tell you go home.
Yeah, well that's
above 80 is an actual. I had to look into it because people were like really roasting him. I was like 80, what is that in like I didn't understand what those numbers meant. Like in America, what would that be, you know? So then I was like looking it up and he was like just barely above the legal limit to where he's actually in trouble. Which isn't, I'm not justifying it, but it's not like he was blackout drunk.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, because that's precisely what I said. I did a YouTube video about it. And I'm like, yeah. And when you see it, the headline, it sounds really bad. And of course, drink driving it's a terrible thing because so many innocent people lose their lives. And I don't think anyone can justify that. But I said, well, when you look into it, it's not like he rolled out of a nightclub, hammered drunk. It's not like he was on a session with the guys all weekend and got behind the wheel of a car. And I said this as well. And I'm getting a little bit of, again, more hatred coming my way. But I'm just being honest. I think, because I said, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but 50 milligrams, if that's the legal limit, if the government the New Zealand government at that, who mandate a lot of shit. If they say you can drive a car at 50 milligrams, that means you're sober. You maybe had one beer. So he was a little bit over that. So he's had like 2 beers, 2 glasses of wine, maybe a cocktail at dinner. He's had a bad judgment call.
Right.
He thought, I've had a meal. It's been a couple of hours. I'll be good. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm just trying to piece it together.
Right.
And he made a mistake.
That's how I pieced it together too. Because if they said 80 is the point where he gets an actual charge, he's at 87.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying he's not wrong, because he is above the legal limit, and that's wrong, and he needs to be punished. But let's not pretend like this guy's out here, he's front flipping a vehicle into a house or something. Like he was.
What you mean, like Tony Ferguson did in Hollywood a few months ago? Not throwing shade, but that's what I said. And the reality is, and I think, and this is pretty much what I got shit for in the comment section. Not that I give a damn. If we're all honest with ourselves, and if we're all honest, I think most people. I know I have. I don't drink drive. I don't get behind the wheel of a car drunk, but I have made a judgment call. I've had a beer at dinner, and sometimes I might have had 2, but I think it's been a few hours. I'm good. I'm fine. And I think most people have done that. And I am not defending Israel Adesanya. I'm not, because drink driving, innocent people lose their lives, and it's a disgusting thing. But I think if most people are honest, I think they could probably admit to having a beer and thinking I'm fine and jumping behind the wheel. Yeah,
I have, and if I'm being, I think transparency is only fair here. I have a couple DUIs.
That's right. Yeah,
I have a couple. So
shame on you.
And I've been very honest about this in the past. I haven't hidden it. One of them was a car accident. So like when I say that, like there is levels to like I'm not. He's wrong no matter what. But there's levels to how bad we're gonna quote unquote crucify him. Like, is he wrong? For sure. I'll say it 100 times. He's definitely wrong. But it could be much worse. We've seen much worse, and I've done much worse personally. And I'm more worried. I just hope he's all right. Like, as far as it doesn't sound like he was super hammered and acting like a fool. Just but 3 weeks before your fight, you get into some shit that you probably don't expect to get into. That weighs on your head. That weighs on your mind. Are you wondering if? Because no one heard about it until just now. So like, are you constantly going through fight week wondering if someone's going to bring this up? Are you going to get in trouble? Like, you have to figure out, you're probably, I don't know how the justice system works in Australia, but like, is he out on bond? Did he have to bond out? Did he have to get special permission to travel to the United States? That's a whole bunch of other steps and things you have to worry about. Now you got this pending case. You got to talk to a lawyer. You got all this other bullshit while you're trying to defend your world title. So that's more what I was wondering. Like, I hope everything just with him personally is okay, and he's got, and he's getting through to it on the other side. And this is just another step of dealing with his bullshit. Because I've been through it, and not since I've been an adult or had children. Like, I haven't been in trouble since I've been a dad, but like when I was a young idiot, like I made a lot of stupid decisions that I know the consequences that come along with that. And it's not all just financial and jail and probation and all that other stuff. There's things that weigh heavy on you, and that's a pain in the ass.
Well, especially when you're someone like Israel Adesanya that has such a big spotlight on him. And this is what I was saying.
How many people are shitting on him? You know what I mean? Like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, I know I messed up. I'm sure that's what he's saying. I know. Yeah,
no, he did. Apparently in court, and I'm not here to defend him, but we're just calling the facts as they are. The question is, 3 weeks before, how much did that affect him on fight night? Because coaches will always say this. A happy fighter with a steady home life is a better fighter. And that's just the facts. You see fighters going into the gym and you're giving up blood, sweat, and tears emotionally and physically as well throughout the training camp. And then if you're going home and you're doing another 5 rounds with your wife or your girlfriend, or you've got a turmoil, you've got a topsy-turvy relationship and you're arguing, it's just negative energy and it affects you. And we don't know. We don't know if that affected him or not. And I'm not taking away from the performance of Sean Strickland. $4,500 fine is what he's looking at. He would have got arrested. He would have been released on bail. It's not the crime of the century, but still, when you're the champ and you got something like that going on, yeah, I guess it's a distraction. I guess I can give an experience because I had a lawsuit coming up when I was the champ, when I was defending the belt, and it came out around the time that I was promoting the fight with George St. Pierre. I had some prick come out with a fabricated lawsuit, an altercation that happened in a gym. You know what I mean? That never affected me too negatively. I wasn't a fan of all the bullshit press that was going around. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think it affected my performance on the night. I would love to say that it did.
Yeah, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to say that it did.
I got choked the fuck out. That had nothing to do with it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, listen, shit happens. Shit happens. Lesson learned. No one got hurt. That's the main thing. And hopefully he learns his lesson and doesn't do that again. So what should we do? Should we get Harrington to throw something at us? Harrington?
Yeah, it's probably going to be
present yourself to the show, please, sir.
What's on your hat? Yeah, good story since you're muted.
Yeah. What's on your hat, bro?
Sorry. It's Al Capone, those like tiny little flavored cigars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. My kid had that wrestling tournament this weekend. Did I talk to you about this?
That's right. You said she came second, right?
Yeah, she got second. Her first match, though, I had to go outside and just cool off before I could talk to her. Because, I'm not the, beat on my kids, emotionally dad. I'm not the, what are you doing? Screaming at them. That's not me. That's not how I coach. I don't even care if they win. I tell them all the time, you can lose every match the rest of your life. I don't even care. As long as I get
as you try.
As long as I get max effort and you give me and you try your hardest. That's it. That's all I care about. And to her credit, this was a huge tournament. It was I was kind of taken aback when we first walked in. It was 2,000 wrestlers, 25 mats, 2 separate sessions, and it was all cosmic. It was called the Cosmic Clash. It was black lights and neons, and it was like a rave, music playing, but a wrestling tournament. It was crazy. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen as far as wrestling goes.
I want to go.
It was super cool. I have to send you some pictures and videos. But she seemed like she was okay. I kept asking her, oh shit,
there he is.
There's Jamal.
The champ is here.
There we go. Hey,
what's going on?
Jamal.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. For some reason, this shit's still on in the car after I turned it off.
That's because you got fancy ass cars.
Oh God.
No.
The champ's driving.
Mike, I'm still grounded, Mike. I'm still grounded. Look, we're in the Jeep. It's just a Jeep. It's just a Jeep. It's just a Jeep.
It looks good though. But Anthony said you've been out there, you've been buying watches, you've been living life, you've been living large, bro.
I got a couple watches.
Let me ask you this. When you jumped on, I said, "Oh, the champ is here." How does that feel right now, knowing that there's 2 people, and we'll just get right into it. There's 2 people fighting for what is essentially your belt. But when somebody calls you champ, what kind of nerve does that touch?
Man, it don't touch any nerves for me. I mean, I am a champ. You know what I mean? I knew once I became a champ, I'd be a champion for life. So, I just kind of take it as that, as far as them fighting for the belt and everything. It is what it is, It's just motivation for me to stay focused and locked in my recovery and make sure I'm able to come back and show everybody who the true king is.
We'll get your prediction on that fight coming up and all the rest of it, but I don't think we've spoken to you since you actually had the injury and had to relinquish the belt, so to speak. I mean, because you're still technically the champ until they fight, right? So would you mind just taking us through taking us through that time in your life? What went down? What was the scenario?
Well, essentially it was we were playing basketball like we did last year, the year before. We got together with DC and a few other guys and we played some basketball, and it was fun. I had a good time, and we wanted to do it again this year. Make it a little bit more fun, kind of make it a little bit more of a spectacle. And yeah, that's what we did. We were there. We were playing basketball. I play basketball all the time. It's part of my workout. It's part of how I stay in shape. Just constantly running back and forth. Especially like in camps. I it gets tiring steady working out, just looking at weights, lifting weights. So basketball is a fun way. It's a fun way for me to get a workout in. But essentially, yeah, the ball was like being passed in on like an entry pass, and I went to go cut it off. And as soon as I went to go plant on my left foot and spring off, it just kind of gave out. It felt like somebody stepped on the back of my leg, right? So when it happened, I just fell over. I fell over. I think Brunson. I think I actually drug Derek Brunson down with me. Which actually led me to think that he stepped on my leg. So for a while, before I actually got the footage where I could actually see, I thought Derek Brunson stepped on my leg and ruptured my Achilles. But no, it wasn't the case. He I don't know, bro. It was just weird, bro. Like when I stood up, it was like I knew something was off, just because we had, like, no bullshit. Earlier that day, I had just been talking about it with a friend, like an Achilles tear, like he had torn his Achilles, like what it felt like and things like that. And instantly it was the burning sensation. Felt like somebody stepped on the back of my leg. And then I felt like I had a high heel on. Felt like I couldn't get my heel to the ground, but my heel was flat to the ground. But it was like, you know what I mean? It was really weird. I went over to the sideline. I kind of sat for a minute. After a while, I kind of was like, all right, I'm moving it around. I was still able to move my foot. So my foot was I still had full range of motion. I could move my foot every way. So I'm thinking like, all right, it's not nothing too bad. I just tweaked my ankle, right?
As you do, you're always got a positive mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think all of us, when you get, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'll be good.
Yeah. I think it's more so wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I was sitting there and I kind of felt it, and I looked back at my leg and I kind of seen the little space, and I was like, yeah, I kind of knew. I kind of knew it was something bad, but I don't know. I just kept telling myself it wasn't that bad. I was able to walk, so I walked around. I actually went to the UFC fights the next day. I actually went out for the next 2 nights on the torn Achilles, walking around, and it wasn't until I think Monday I went in and got the MRI, and that was when I found out it was completely torn. It was just, when they told me it was torn, it was shock. I was shocked. I don't know, just a lot of things just went through my head. I don't know, like what's gonna happen next, fear what happens next, all sorts of things. And yeah, I don't know, man. It was just more so about getting the information I could now about what the best road. I instantly jumped on the recovery. All right, what do I need to do to make sure I start to get back and start to heal back the right way? And from that, yeah, bro, I just kind of rolled from that. A few days went by. I called Dana. Told him. I talked to Hunter. Told him, and they called me back. Hunter called me back a couple of days later, and was like, "Yo, so this is what this was looking like. This is what the doctors are saying." You know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to force you to say anything or do anything or anything like that, but we want to keep the belts moving, and they kind of had the same promise. They kind of were in a weird position because they had the same promise to me that they had that I made, that they had to Jiri. So when Jiri had the guarantee that when he came back, he would fight for the title. And the only thing that would hold that up would be if I was being a dickhead and was just like, yo, nah, you can wait. Y'all can fight for an interim. You know what I mean? Which I'm not. Which my only thing was, the only reason why you would do that is because you would lose pay-per-view points, not being the champion. Once they told me I had that guarantee, whenever I come back, I fight for the title, I get my champion pay, and I get my pay-per-view numbers. What's the point? What's the point of me holding on to? What's the point of me? You know what I mean? Selfishly holding on to the belt. So it was an easy decision at that point.
I think that makes a lot of sense to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people have probably wondered, well, why didn't he just make him fight for an interim?
Yeah.
So I think that probably clears up a lot. I've seen you address this on your podcast, on your YouTube channel, but just for the people here that haven't heard you say it, there's obviously been some people that have talked about, maybe he tore it because he was out of shape and he was heavier or whatever. And I've seen
say what's on your mind,
but,
Anthony. Say what's on your mind.
Well, there's been, I've seen how you've been pissed about it. So I wanted to give an opportunity.
Oh, there we go. Give it a big old slap for me, Jamal. hey. Go on, Anthony. Before you get to that question, I'm interrupted, I know. A friend of mine.
If you look closely, there's still a six-pack, resemblance of a six-pack there.
Yeah. But guess what? A friend of mine saw Lennox Lewis in a hotel in Beverly Hills, right? And Lennox Lewis was looking fat as fuck. And my buddy said, "Oh, put a few pounds on there, champ." And Lennox Lewis said, and it was the best response ever, he said, "You will never see a skinny king."
I love that.
Sorry, Anthony.
No, I was just going to, I asked the question, and then I was going to say, I've never seen someone like fluctuate as efficiently as Jamal. Like in between, he's happy and he gets a little fluffy and he's enjoying his life. But like as soon as he gets on his diet and he's in shape, like it comes off fast. It's shocking how fast it comes off. And it's not like he's starving himself. It's wild. It's crazy to see.
Years of practice. Years and years of practice. Shit, the cuts were hell, bro, at first. They used to fight at 185, so I learned, bro. I just learned as I go from certain things. All right, I ate this. It makes me feel this way. This makes me feel this way. I noticed this made me lose this weight this way and things like that. And now I have my nutritionist and chef. So now I don't even have to worry about it. So now it's just putting in the work that I normally do. I think a lot of that is just a lot of the work that I put in. Whenever I do like eat my sweets and things like. Whenever I lock in and it's time to go to work, I get to work.
No, exactly.
But weight goes and being like for the tenant. What I was the hardest thing about it was when the doctor he told me after the repair, after he repaired it, after they went inside and they seen it, he's like, bro, this thing has been deteriorating for years. It was already a weak blood flow through it. That's probably why whenever it snapped, I was able to still control my foot and move around because it wasn't that as severe of a pop as like a more healthy Achilles. You know what I mean? So I had tendinosis. He said I had tendinosis in it. So he said it was a matter of time. It was only a matter of time, which is a crazy thing to hear because it's just like.
So essentially, your weight wouldn't have mattered. Doesn't matter how much you weigh.
Yeah, like how do you prevent that?
You can't.
And ultimately, it doesn't matter because every cloud has a silver lining. You're going to get that repaired. You're going to come back in shape, motivated. You're still getting your championship pay. You're still going to get your pay-per-view points, and you're going to get an immediate title fight. So realistically, it's allowed you to step aside, take care of that, and then come back in the exact same position. Of course, you will be the challenger in that regard, but financially, which is, let's be honest, the main reason why we all do this, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, 100%. And it's coming. I'm coming along pretty quick. I can walk already. I'm already walking.
Oh,
look at that.
Look at this.
Little shift on it.
Mike, I was so pissed at Jamal, right? The day before he announced his whole Achilles thing. I call up Jamal. It's like, I'm at home. I'm getting ready for this fight. And I call him. I'm like, it's late at night. He's in Vegas. It's like Friday night. I'm like, hey, man, I'm in this camp. I'd love can you come out? Can you come out and come train with me? Give me like a week or 10 days and just give me a different look and a good push, right? And I'm expecting Jamal to be like, yeah, bro, I got you. Whenever you need me there, I'll be there. And he was like, nah, man, I got some things I got to take care of. And I was like, wait, what? He was like, nah, man, I got to do this thing. I got to get home on Sunday. I got this, I got something I got to take care of. And I'm still like what? What are you talking about, bro? Come help me train. He was like, man, I got this thing. And then I was like, all right, man, well, all right, you sound busy. I'll let you go. And then he texted me and he was like, all right, man, yeah, we'll let's talk next week. We'll figure something out. And I still was like, man, did Jamal just big time me?
Nah, bro.
Did he just
champ life me? And then the next day or 2 days later, whatever it was like, he tore his Achilles. And I was like, damn, bro, you couldn't have just told me that 2 days ago. And
It was I wanted to, bro, but at the time, it was just like
Right.
bro, it was a lot, bro. It was a lot, bro. I was like, I ain't want to really, I really ain't want to talk about it for real.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Honestly, you know what I mean? You know, I know you care about me, bro. So I know I can't just be like, oh yeah, I got hurt, and it just be left at that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, bro, I think I got this going on, this and that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had every intention on letting you know. You know,
I mean, I was relieved when you tore your Achilles because I was like, I thought I got big time. I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you.
Call me, you need my help, bro.
Oh yeah, always.
There, bro. 100% I'm there. As long as I'm willing, body, and able, bro, I'll be there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I apologize that I even made you feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know,
There was 2 days.
Respect.
He was texting me.
Bro.
Oh,
2
get
days.
out of here.
2 days he was texting me. Jamahal Hill's a piece of shit. Fuck guy.
Yeah, right.
He's
out here doing rapper shit.
Asshole driving around in a brand new Jeep. He's buying fucking watches. And I told him, and he won't help me train. Goddamn Jamahal Hill. That's what he told me. I'm just being honest.
Never.
Hey, I was offended that you didn't call me for the Johnny Walker camp.
That's the camp I was talking about.
You had already fought Johnny Walker at that time. I was at the Johnny Walker fight.
Oh shit, that's right. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe.
So what
I don't remember. Anyways.
So what are we looking at? 6 months, 9 months, a year? What are we saying?
They haven't really he hasn't really given me a number. If I had to say, I'd say about 6 to 8 months.
More or total?
6 to 8 months, like total. Before I'm able to, I believe I could fight in about 8 months.
Right, so that's not bad. So we're talking like March, right? So October, November, December, January, Feb, March, April. So April, maybe May next year.
All right. Make sure I'm back, healed, feeling good, in the rhythm. Been in the rhythm for training for a while, ready to go out and fight a title fight. I'd say May.
May?
Well, you know, UFC 300 is around that time. You know, now some conspiracy theorists may say that you did this on purpose. Brian, our producer, wears a tinfoil hat. You did this on purpose. It was all a big plan. Let me ask you, when you do come back, who do you think will be the champion? And that's a fancy way of asking Jiri Prochazka, Alex Pereira, who wins that fight?
I think that was a toss-up. If I'm being completely honest, I think that fight can truly go either way. I think Jiri, the way he strikes, and he has the wild, kind of loose style. But for that, Alex isn't going for that. He's not going for the tricks. He's not going for all the out there, because he has a specific mission and specific points in places he wants to be when he's striking and when he's engaging. And I think Alex is better at getting to those spots than Jiri is. But I think physically, Jiri will be the more physically strong fighter. I think Jiri has more MMA experience. I think if he can use his unorthodoxness to, instead of trying to strike, actually get in and mix and be rounded around in mixed martial arts, clinch him up, beat him up in the clinch, drag him to the ground. And I think that more so be his best way of making it an all-around mixed martial arts fight.
Who would you rather fight? If you had to choose.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, who would you rather fight?
If I honestly had my choice and had my pick, I would have not gotten hurt. I would have had them both be in the position that they are, and I'd have whooped their ass one by one. So,
there's not one that sounds like it'd be more fun than the other?
No, they both sound like extremely fun fights, extremely fun nights for me.
Yeah.
In some ways, though, it's a great story. Right? You know what I mean? You become the champion in an epic fight with Glover. You blow out your Achilles tendon. 2 champions, right? A middleweight champ, a former light heavyweight champ. They fight for the belt. You come back. In a perfect world, you take the belt off them. I mean, that's like a Rocky movie story. I mean, that's some fucking movie shit right there. You know what I mean? So, it's all good. It's all good. It doesn't really matter, man. You're going to come back. Hopefully you get your belt back. You're still going to make tons of dough. Life is good for Jamahal Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't no maybe, ain't no ifs, ands, or maybes, Mike. There's nobody for me, bro. I truly feel like, you know what I mean? Even with this time off, I'm going to get better. You don't like, I don't go into a room and not get better. I don't take days or months or weeks and not get better. Even if I'm not in the gym getting better, I'm watching and I'm learning things. I learn just from rethinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just learn. It's just what I do. Every day I learn something. I'm always progressing. I'm always going to progress. I'm a progressive person. So no matter what, whenever I step back in there, I'm going to be a better version than I was before. You know?
On that note, then, in terms of progression, because of the injury itself, what are you doing? A lot of jiu-jitsu off your back? That would seem like right now a smart training method. Not because of future opponents, but because you're not on your feet. Or am I wrong now?
No, I'm not doing any grappling. I haven't been doing any striking more. So it's all about PT. I'm doing PT twice a day, and then I'm doing strength and conditioning every day. So right now it's just like keeping my body strong and being able to endure, you know, and things like that. But getting this injury right, making sure the muscles around it are strong and good, you know. And in doing so, taking times on the little things and maybe about conditioning and strength that I wasn't, you know what I mean, that I wasn't up on as much before. You know, I might come back and just be, you know, ripped up. I might be a red man whenever I come back. You know, it's all on the table for me. I'm just playing with my game, looking at things. Where can I improve? Where can I make the small adjustments that'll ultimately lead to big leaps?
So the believers are going to be pissed if I don't ask you about this. You got to give us another story.
Oh,
like another funny street fight story, another Jamal crazy life story. I know you got one in there somewhere.
He's got a lot.
He's got one in there somewhere.
Man, you got to give me something along the lines, man. You got to theme it out for me or something. Come on, man.
Give me a funny story from your regional scene days.
Regional scene days.
You got to have one of those too. Damn, we caught him on the spot.
You got to think I was only on the regional scene for like 5 fights.
Oh, he's like, I was too good. I didn't belong there.
He just blew through the competition. It's like, you know, I mean, I was never destined for the regional scene, bro. I can't even remember those days.
We got it out of there pretty quickly.
As you should. You got anything? Because I've got a question. If not, but you got one. You got one for us, Jamal. Come on, don't hold back.
I'm gonna see what I can pull up.
Okay.
You got to get there. There's a lot in the archive. You got to give me.
Yeah, of course. You got to start set the wheels in motion. You got to start accessing the files in the memory bank. We got to trigger this. While you do that, who the hell did your lighting setup on your YouTube studio? Because I watch your videos. I'm like, motherfucker, that is a sick setup. It looks. Have you seen it, Anthony?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's incredible.
The blues and the purples and shit.
You're pretty good at it too. Like
I'm like, this
when he's just sitting there talking and he's just dropping knowledge on people, especially when you're in your beef with someone or something like.
Whatever, I'm not stuttering. You can tell when I'm serious. There's no stutter. There's nothing.
Yep.
No fill in words. There's nothing. Yeah.
Well, that's always the way. When you're passionate about something, it's easy to talk about. You know what I mean? When you're trying to like just put a video together and you're not really feeling it, you're like trying to fill the gaps. But no, man, that studio looks awesome.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's my guy my guy that I met a while back. Quan, it's his studio. He's out here in Vegas. You know, I pull up on him from time to time over the years. You know, and use his studio. But now that I'm out here, you know, we've been locked in with him.
Are you living in Vegas now? Yeah,
for recovery. Yeah.
Nice.
The reason I saw the YouTube channel, first of all, and by the way, it is very good, because of this thing with Ariel Helwani. This beef with Helwani. What happened there? What went down? What's your version?
Man, so basically...
Love a little shit stir.
Yeah.
You good. So basically, bro, it just simply come down to like I'm a real person. You know what I mean? I'm real, you know? And when I'm real with somebody, I expect, you know what I mean? and then they show me that they not that, I just don't with you, you know. But then at the same time, though, when you in a position like he is, and you steady take unnecessary shots or try to smudge my character or anything in any type of way, like it's just not necessary. So for the most part, like you seen the video of the piece where I went on about the question of one about if I'm good enough to be champ. That whole thing, I felt like that was a good interview. I feel like I gave, you know what I mean, I kept it real, you know what I mean, and came on with some real stuff. Somewhere in between there, the whole thing, that the Dana White situation happened with his wife, and people just tried to drag me into the situation, you know, and I'm just like, nobody should be hitting anybody, right? Everybody keep their hands to themselves. They somehow spun this to try to put words in my mouth to say that I was condoning violence towards women, you know, which is crazy. And I'm assuming he took that as something personal or something like that. And then whenever he asked me back on after I won the title, rather than talk about the championship, talk about the accomplishment, he just was just kind of shitty about it. You know what I mean? Like kind of just shitting on the accomplishment, like all it was, like it wasn't that serious. Like I didn't really do anything major or anything like that. Like, oh, well, Yuri's still the main champion. You talking about like bringing somebody else into my moment rather than talking about that and giving me my moment. You know, so whenever I called him out on it, and I started bringing up some of the things that he said and holding his feet to the fire, he didn't want to own up to it, right? So, and rather than him own up to it, he tried to throw me under the bus, like, oh, I didn't say anything about you. Whenever you sided with Dana White, like saying it's okay to hit you and things like that, like trying to put words in my mouth. Like I'm like, where'd that come from? You know what I mean? So it took the interview into a whole like little weird turn of things and things like that, you know. And you know, I went through the interview, finished out the interview, you know, and then afterwards, you know, it was just like, you know, I'm kind of thinking about it, and then just more and more things, just not so much is like with him, but like just certain other things, like outside things that you hear and things. It's like, all right, you start looking at everything, and then I looked at that interview, and then that's when we had the conversation. Like I feel like that was some dirty shit you did, you know. And so then from there, it's just like, all right, cool. I don't fuck with you. I just want to come on your show. But every chance they get, he throws shots at me. Like the whole thing about Yuri, like, oh, I thought that said a lot about you as a person, even though you said something about him. I never said anything about him. So what are you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? Like little subliminal shit. I don't do that. If you got something to say, say it. Like he talked about like, oh, he tried to reach out private. He never tried to reach out to me in private. All he did was cried and bitched to my manager. You know what I'm saying? Blowing up my manager's phone. When at the end of the day, over anything, all that, bro, you could have hit me up and said, or could have just been like, if he was truly like the good guy and all this, like he portrays and everything like that, he could have just been like, oh, I felt like, you felt offended. If that wasn't your intention, state that, say that. You keep saying little subliminal shit, even in response, you know what I mean? Little subliminal shit, little things. Like he always act like he trying to take some type of high road when he not. He really just do like little subliminal and sleazy shit, bro. You know what I mean? And obviously he's very prideful. We're all prideful, but he tries to act like that's not him. You know what I mean?
Have you guys talked since?
No.
Like no texts or anything like that?
No, he offered me to come on his show. I've already been on his show, so I'll offer him to come on my show. You know,
that's a fair point,
right? So then he's like, "Oh no, whatever, do your thing, do whatever you." It's obviously you're doing this for clicks and for likes, bro. Your whole, which honestly kind of pissed me off.
I thought I seen him say somewhere that that you guys could get on together and talk about it, and that he wouldn't put it on his channel, and you could put it on yours. I thought he said that somewhere.
Coming on his platform, and then he's talking about he'll release the footage. Bro, if that's the case, then just come on my show. We don't have to go through none of that, exchanging the files or none of that. You can just come on my show and make it easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's an angle, bro. You know,
let's put it on your channel and I'll referee it.
You know what I mean? Like,
there we go. I'll be the mediator.
I'll do security. I'm just throwing it out there. And this is no offense to Ariel Helwani. 1 Achilles tendon, 2 Achilles tendon. You will fuck him up. We know this. You know what I mean? I'll come and I'll hold you back.
Of the people on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Still more dangerous than 99% of the planet.
Oh, shit, man.
You know?
Yeah, you ever had a road rage incident? Because I had some guy jump out of the car. I was driving home from Vegas. I'm going to let you go in just a minute. And thanks for your time, champ, as always.
The story.
So some guy jumped out of the car and was like trying to begging me to get out of the car and fight him. I'm like, motherfucker, you got no idea. You ever had a similar situation?
All right, so here's story time, and this ties in.
Yeah, got you.
This gives y'all a infamous Kevin Holland story, right? So,
it's even better.
This is brilliant.
I was in Fort Worth, Dallas, right? So, me and Kevin, we were chilling. Well, I was getting ready. He was chilling. We were chilling, smoking before he drops me off at the airport, right? So we started going to the airport. Somehow, I don't know how it got mixed around something. We ended up going to the wrong airport. So now he's got to get me back to this other airport before I miss my flight. So he's driving, he's hauling, and like it's a lot of traffic, right? There's a lot of traffic. But then like out of nowhere, the dude in front of us is just like stopped up and he's just letting cars go in front of us. So now Kev's like, yo, what the fuck? Leans out the window. Yo, what's up, bro? We got somewhere to be. Dude's just like, whatever, just like kind of waves Kev off. So now this pisses Kev off. Kev starts hitting on the horn. So now dude decides he's going to be a dickhead now. He's just going to hold us up and let more people go. So, bro, Kev was like, yo, he leans out the car, move your car. Dude, right? So from there, it's like, you know what? Fuck this. Bro, he goes, swerves around this dude, literally straight up cuts this dude off, and then like goes. So now we're at the exit. We get at this exit or whatever, and now he just stops, bro. He just fucking stops. Bro, stops. I'm talking like 30 fucking cars behind us on this exit. And he stopped halfway through the exit. The light's green. He's just fucking holding up everybody, bro. Now he's like, yeah, now you're on my time, motherfucker. Fuck you, bro. Like, bro, flipping the guy off and everything. Like, and the dude's like this, like, oh, like he wants to like get out or something. It's like, what are you gonna do, bro? You know, like it's me and Kevin in the car.
Yeah.
We're in Texas. Come on, bro. We in Texas. Yeah, we in Texas, but and you got to know how to move in every city. We'll just say that.
Okay.
But like he's just like, yo, this dude, like, bro. I say he waited maybe like held up till it was like till cars literally started going around and cutting the dude that was behind us off, and then he took him. Bro, it was crazy. That was the one day I realized I was like, oh,
yeah. Kevin Holland's that guy.
Bro, you don't fuck around.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
That's amazing. All right, champ, we're gonna let you go.
Yeah, for sure.
You're the man. Good luck with rehab. Good luck with the comeback. Good luck with the title fight when that happens. Thanks for your time. Always a pleasure, man.
All right, man.
Stay in touch, brother.
All right, brother.
Take it easy. Take it easy. There he is. That was funny when you're like, and for 2 days, you didn't text me back or whatever. You thought,
I was like, damn,
hilarious.
he's out here doing rapper shit and just big time me. I really did. For like, I went inside and like told my wife, because I was outside of like a little get together in the neighborhood. I was like, I think Jamal just big time me. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I just kind of like begged him to come train with me, and he told me no.
Yeah. And you're like, bro.
Well, and she, like, bless her, she goes, nah, there's probably something else going on. He probably was just too busy to tell you. And I was like,
women always see it for what it is. Do you know what I mean? Because more than often they're rational, but also because they're not emotionally invested in whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I always assume like the worst case scenario. I'm like, and this guy, he said this and he did that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck this guy. And she's like, well, no, he probably said X, Y, Z or whatever. And I'm like, why are you making excuses for him?
Yeah. Oh, you like him? You must like him, huh?
And then it turns out she's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was too. She was so calmly was like, I don't know, maybe he's probably got something else going on. He just wasn't in a place he could tell you. I was like, well, he's in fucking Vegas. Like, where could he be in Vegas? He can't tell me anything. Like, I don't send a text. And she was like, Anthony, he's the champion of the world in Las Vegas during International Fight Week. He's not always going to be able to have a regular conversation with you on the phone. I was like,
again,
no, I think he big time.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Champion of the world, International Fight Week. All right, guys, we're going to talk about Nugenix, which is an incredible all-natural testosterone booster. And it works. And this is how confident that Nugenix are. They're going to give you a bottle for free. That is correct. Our sponsor, Nugenix Total T, lets you try before you buy. All you got to do is text 231-231 and enter the code word BELIEVE, and Nugenix will make its way to you. Listen, testosterone, you want to keep that thing as high as you can. It's dropping every year. As you get older, it's getting lower and lower. It affects your energy levels, your physique, right? If you're working out in the gym and not making any gains, or you're putting on the fat, your belly's getting bigger, you've lost a little bit of your sex drive, so to speak, or you just want to feel good about yourself, you want to shift some pounds, you want to get rid of that dad bod that you've got, Nugenix Total T, that is the way to go. Okay, Nugenix Total T testosterone booster with Testofen. That's what you want, and we're going to give you a bottle for free to test drive this bad boy. Text 231-231 and enter the code word BELIEVE. Nugenix Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like Testofen. This unprecedented formula, obviously with the Nugenix and the Total T, it will help you increase your muscle mass, skyrocket your performance as you age. Okay, Nugenix Total T can help you re-energize your life and help you get back to the powerful, confident, good-looking warrior that you used to be. And if you're not totally satisfied, Nugenix will refund 100% of your purchase price. So there it is, Nugenix Total T. That's how confident they are in their product. And Nugenix, by the way, is the #1 doctor-recommended brand and the #1 selling testosterone booster brand at GNC and Walmart. And they're going to give it to you for free. All you got to do, get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T by texting 231-231 and use the keyword BELIEVE. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest and most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat and get lean fast, absolutely free. 231-231. That's the number you want to text, and the keyword is BELIEVE. Text 231-231. The keyword is BELIEVE. All right, so Dana White announced a ton of fights at the weekend. I mean, UFC 296 is stacked, 295 is, 294 is around the corner, but 296, what a way to finish off the year. They announced Vicente Luque versus Shavkat versus Ian Gary.
Yep.
Shavkat versus Wonder Boy. And Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. What are your thoughts? Let's start with Paddy versus Tony. Thoughts on that matchup and that fight announcement?
I didn't see that one coming at all. I didn't even consider Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. I don't think it's that bad of a matchup, if I'm being honest.
I like it.
I think it's a pretty decent matchup. I mean, Paddy's definitely going to throw caution to the wind like he does on his feet. I think they end up in grappling exchanges, and I don't know.
That's Tony's world as well.
I don't know who wins those. It's like Bobby Green's a very good defensive grappler, and Tony had him pretty wrapped up. He was taking some shots, but I think that Paddy's a different fighter than Bobby Green is. He's not quite as tricky on his feet. He's not as defensively sound as Bobby Green is. I actually like the matchup.
I think it's good because Tony obviously clearly wants to fight on, right? So God bless him, and we've got to respect that. He has lost 6 in a row. Bobby Green, solid fighter, certainly no disrespect. But outside of Bobby, he only fought the elite. Neil Dariush, Chandler, Gagey, Oliveira. So this is, Paddy's not ranked, I believe. Yeah, he's not ranked. So it's a step down in terms of opposition, according to the rankings. It's a big name. It's on a pay-per-view to round out the year. So it's a big opportunity for Tony Ferguson to get a win over someone with a big following, right? So it's a big fight for Tony Ferguson. And on the flip side, for Paddy, it's kind of smart matchmaking because, again, he's had 4 wins, I believe, in a row. Granted, the one against Jared Gordon was, questionable at best. But this is a big name. It's an interesting fight, and it definitely is a step up in competition without throwing Paddy to the wolves of some of the potentially more dangerous.
It's not
ranked
Ilya
opponents
Topuria.
that don't have a name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a Jalen Turner. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Jalen doesn't have a name. You know the point that I'm making.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So in that regard, I think it's quite smart.
There's much more. There's more dangerous guys that aren't as known as Tony.
That don't have the name recognition of a Tony Ferguson.
Right.
So that's a great scalp for anybody to have on their resume, whether or not he's lost 6 in a row. It's going to be interesting to see if Tony can deal with someone outside of the top 15. And if he can't, then that will be 7 in a row. And I saw a stat or a meme yesterday. Tony Ferguson went on the longest win streak in the lightweight division at 12. And now he's on the longest losing streak at 6. Damn. You know, so isn't it funny how the table turns? Yeah,
it's quite the fall. It's quite the fall. But
it really is.
I like the fight. I like the fight for both guys. It's a win-win for the UFC, and you know, it keeps Tony in a position where he can not be fighting killers, but also be in a position where it's an important fight and it's a big fight. So I think
interesting fights. It's an interesting fight as opposed to giving him. You know, I don't know. So I'm just trying to think of a name, but I don't want to give one because it's disrespectful. Like one that people they're not too emotionally invested in. This is a fight that people will be invested in. There will be a lot of buzz around it. And that press conference is going to be wild. Leon Colby, Ferguson Paddy, Shavkat, Wonderboy.
Yeah.
Luque versus
Ian Gary.
There's going to be shit popping off all over the place.
How do you feel about that Ian Gary Vicente Luque matchup?
Given the current form that Vicente Luque has shown, I like the matchup.
Yeah.
I think it's a good fight for Ian Gary.
Do you? See, I kind of thought the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts. I'm gonna look up.
Well, he obviously had that brain thing that happened or whatever, but I thought he looked really good against RDA. And we all know how tough RDA is and how tricky he can be, especially in the wrestling and grappling. There's not too many guys. If you out grapple RDA and out wrestle him, you're probably pretty damn good. And so I thought that he did a good job there. I thought he was really magical on his feet, especially given that anytime he opened up, RDA was entering in on a takedown and level changing. I thought he looked really good. And it seemed like he leveled up with the time off.
And to be fair, I'm just looking at Luque's record. His only 2 recent losses were to Jeff Neal, who's Jeff Neal's a killer, and Bilal Muhammad by decision. And Bilal Muhammad's on ridiculous form right now. We said last week the fight for Bilal should have been Shavkat. That would have been perfect for Shavkat. But Shavkat versus who's he fighting again? So it's Wonderboy.
Wonderboy.
That's fantastic.
I can't believe they didn't do Wonderboy Ian Gary.
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd have been wild.
But so what's an easier fight for Ian Gary, you think? Wonderboy?
It's simpler. I don't know about easy. It's simpler though.
And so who's Ian Gary fighting now?
Vicente Luque.
Vicente Luque. Yeah. God, there's all these fight bookings, bro. It's all going through my head. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with this shit. Early predictions. Won't hold you to it. Won't get mentioned again. We will not be tallying it up. Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Who wins?
I'm gonna go Tony Ferguson.
All right. I'm with you. I'll take a piece of that action. Yeah. Ian Gary versus Vicente Luque. Who wins that fight?
If we're not holding my feet to the fire later, I'd say Vicente Luque just had a snap reaction.
I'm going to say Ian Gary on that one. And then the final one was, who was it? Wonderboy versus Shav. Wonderboy versus Shav.
I'll never pick against Wonderboy.
Well, he's such a sweetheart of a guy, isn't he? But don't let that blur you. Don't be fooled by the nice guy act.
He's too pretty. He's too nice.
Oh,
I think he's got a good style for Shavkat. I like his style.
He does have a good style. He does have good anti-wrestling. We have seen Shavkat struggle a little bit with Jeff Neal. He wasn't plain sailing until he got the finish late in the fight. That's a tough one. But I'll go with you. I think Shavkat deep down, but I publicly will say the Wonder Boy.
You're like, between me and you and every single person that listens to this.
As long as, what's he called?
What?
The actor who sings Wonder Boy. What's his name?
I don't know.
Jack Black.
Jack Black.
Jack Black.
As long as Jack Black's walking him to the octagon.
I hope so. That'd be sweet.
That will be the pick. All right, Harrington, what is the big news? I just had a notification here. The DA, District Attorney, drops the case against Nate Diaz for the New Orleans street fight.
Oh, I forgot about all that.
Right. So essentially, he said they're not going to pursue charges against Nate Diaz because it's very clear in the video that the guy was walking up to Nate to engage in combat. So Nate was 100% justified to take the actions that he did. That's it. Clear case, self-defense. Threw it out.
Perfect.
I love that. I love that.
So what we're saying is I could have got out of the car, smashed up that guy, and I would have been fine.
No, because you would have gotten out of the car. If he'd opened your door, you could have said, my door is unlocked if you want to open it.
If you want to walk into my property.
Have you guys seen this video floating around of this guy on the golf course?
No.
Oh my God. I need to do a better job of remembering to send these stupid ass.
Send them in because we have a little group chat. Anytime I see something good, boom, I send the link in the chat.
I got to send it.
You got to get invested, bro.
I'm invested. A lot of times
I'm invested.
I have like all these like group chats on Instagram with like my friends. And so I'll send
we're not
them
your friends. Thanks.
Well, no, like my neighbors.
With your real friends.
No, with like my neighbors and shit. And so I just post them and send them on. I need to just go ahead and send the link, and here we go.
If you need money for a golf balls, fancy, bitch boy. Now get the fuck off the cart. Walter.
Oh, here we go.
You see that?
Yes.
That's what you spin to heaven, bitch, and you want to test God, you fucking come get it. Shit. You think I'm mentally ill?
What did he say? What was
he said?
Kill that now, Harrington.
He said, "This is what you look like when you've been to heaven. You want to test God, motherfucker."
Easy now. That's blasphemous. Bryce Mitchell would not approve.
Oh God.
Oh God. This is what it looks like. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Oh my God.
I love videos like that. I spend my free time just bouncing around videos like that.
Yeah, no, I waste so much time doing that. I really do. I've got to do a better job of just not wasting time looking at utter dog shit on my phone. But it's not dog shit. I am thoroughly entertained.
And it's fucking up my algorithms big time too, because I'll be scrolling and like you'll see like one midget video or something, and then you just watch like I don't know, two midgets getting a fist fight. So you watch it, and then I'm scrolling the rest of the day, and it's nothing but midgets fighting. It's just my algorithms are disasters.
Oh dear. Should we talk about Leon Edwards' brother Fabian losing at the weekend? I never saw the fight, and commiserations to him, of course. But Leon then getting in an altercation in the octagon with the new champ, or should we let Harrington give us a non-MMA story? I wish this was live. We would let the people decide. But Anthony, this is your responsibility right now.
I would probably say a non-MMA story. There's not a whole shit ton to the altercation. They kind of broke them up pretty quick. I think the biggest part of that story is the cut that Leon's brother put on Johnny Eblin. It's probably one of the worst cuts I've ever seen in MMA.
Right. Okay. So we're not talking. I didn't see it. So what? Did he hit him with an elbow?
I didn't see the fight. Johnny Eblin's pretty tough though. He's been the champion, I think, in Bellator for a while. He's pretty good. He's very, very good. I think he'd be really competitive in the UFC.
So yeah, I mean, I don't keep too much up to date with Bellator, although I am seeing rumors and that apparently it's going to fold soon as well. Did you see that?
Yeah, someone's buying them, right? PFL's buying Bellator?
No, I heard that they're not buying them. I mean, you don't believe everything you read online, of course, but I saw that obviously there was talks about that for a while, and Dana had a funny response to that when he was asked. Yeah. It was hilarious where he was like, who in the God's fucking right mind wants to buy that piece of shit? But then I saw that they were folding or going out of business. Maybe it's true, maybe it's false.
Yeah, I know.
But I thought Leon Edwards' brother was the Bellator champ.
Oh, maybe. I thought Johnny Eblin was the champ and has been for a while, but
no. Fabian won a number one contender fight against the last champion, I believe it was, to set up the fight with Eblin.
Sorry. I thought that when he beat Musashi, he became the champion. Shows what I know about Bellator.
Well, and Eblin is he's not very well known, but he's really good. I think he'd be a top guy in the UFC pretty quickly. Okay. But the cut on his face, all that other bullshit aside, was horrific.
Oh yeah, that's a nasty one. That's a nasty one for sure.
Pull up the one I put in the chat. It's bad.
Set the scene, though, Harrington, for us about because Anthony wanted to talk about this. We mentioned it at the top of the show before we started, and you put it in the chat as well. I do believe it's number 2 in the notes.
So a state trooper in Pennsylvania, he essentially used his power as a cop to have his ex-girlfriend committed to a psychiatric institution against her will. He has since been arrested and brought up on charges of it. And the DA even put out a video of him at the scene, like in the incident here. But yeah, basically he called ahead, identified himself as a police officer to like whatever the jurisdiction was where she was staying. He then went and met her at a camping grounds. He reportedly tackled her before this video starts. And then in this video, you can see he's sitting on her legs. He will not tell her what, she's being stopped for, and just keep saying, I'm going to get you help. At which point she's like, the only help I need is to get away from you. He gets pretty physical with her. So a little viewer discretion to be advised there.
Yeah. So let's take a look at it then. But is that, so that's the boyfriend or the husband?
That's her ex-boyfriend.
I didn't do anything.
It's kind of creepy the way that he's just sitting on her,
sitting there. Yeah. Like
nothing.
Yeah. That's, oh, wow.
Brian,
what is
skip on a little bit? Brian Harrington says it's like 12 minutes long. Oh, nice elbow, ground and pound.
Oh, fuck. This is awful.
According to the petition filed, she suffered injuries to her face, back, shoulders, and her neck due to the restraints he put on.
How did they find out? Harrington, do you know how they found out? I mean, that he was lying to have her committed?
So he wasn't necessarily lying. What he did was he took screenshots from like an argument that they had, and she had hypothetically like talked about self-harm over like like you get heated in a text message conversation. So he took screenshots of that and sent it to the authorities in the jurisdiction where he was at. So he obtained it under false pretenses, and she just brought forward the text messages to be like, yeah, this guy was totally out of line for this whole thing.
That is a scummy move, isn't it?
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. There was this, I believe it was a state trooper or a sheriff, him and his fiance, I believe, they lived like a block from me when I first moved into this neighborhood. And it was like this weird, funky ass scenario, but like all the police and ambulances were coming in, and she had killed herself while he was in the house, and they were like in an argument, and she had shot herself. And then he ends up getting arrested because the police come in, firefighters and ambulance people come in, and like he starts fighting them, and he's like drunk or something. And anyways, it turns out like they go through this long ordeal where he's in jail for the assault on the firefighter, and he had moved her body, and he put his clothes in the washer, and like turns out then they were getting ready to file like murder charges. And like then he killed himself. Like,
oh god,
it's like but that's what it reminded me of, like that story when I seen it, like just cops using their like position to do weird shit. And it's awful, because what do you say? Like if you're that girl, what do you say if a police officer tells another cop like, here's what she said, she's gonna kill herself, we got to get her into a psych ward? Like, talk about being like in the most helpless position in the world.
Yeah, but you would think straight away that if she just made it public or told the police, listen, this man used to be my boyfriend, or was it husband? Boyfriend, right?
I think boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah, we were very heavily involved with one another. This man clearly has a motivation. He's out to get me. He's trying to make me look bad, regardless of what it is. Maybe he's trying to take revenge on me because I broke up with him or whatever it is. There's clearly a motive here. It's insane that they never looked at the pieces, you know what I mean, and broke that down. But the reality is that happens all day, every day. Abuse of power, police. There's a lot of
asshole just stood there and recorded that for 12 minutes. It's a 12-minute video.
That is the troubling thing. You see that a lot these days. I'm seeing a lot of like videos online on Twitter. There's one, I think it's Fight Haven on Twitter. Do you follow them?
Yeah.
There's some good ones on there.
There's some pretty good fights on there. I can't lie.
But you see, there's a trend now. I'm seeing a lot of videos of men beating up women. Right?
Yeah, no way.
In
public. What would you do?
No, well, this is what. Hold on. But there's people, and then there's people filming it and not feeling obliged or a sense of decency to step in. And I understand that people don't want to get involved because you're inserting yourself into a situation that is very explosive. And, you know, once you're involved, and God knows what happens. You might get assaulted. You might hit the guy back, whatever the case may be. But with that said, with that understanding, I could not. It's just impossible for me to. If I was on a subway in New York and I'm a grown man, a full-size man, started beating up and punching a woman in the face, and you see these videos all the time circulating on social media, I could not. It goes against every moral fiber in my body. And it wouldn't even be a choice. It would just be, right, I've got to get involved.
Yeah. Like, this is going to suck. This is no matter what, this is going to go bad. But that would be the thought. Like, all right, I guess we got to get involved in this. I just, and it's not because I'm some badass or I'm tougher than anybody else or whatever. I just couldn't walk away. I wouldn't be able to. And I hope that you would hope that would be the thought of most people out there, not just guys, but most people. You know, if there's one guy in a subway beating up one girl, you would think that every girl on that subway would want to get involved and help, and every man and whatever. But it's just not the world we live in these days. And I get it. It's dangerous and bad things can happen, but I suppose that's not how I was raised.
Well, that's exactly what it is. But I'll say this as well. One thing you notice about these men that are out there hitting women, they're always cowards. They're always pussies. Now, that doesn't mean that there's never been a case of tough guys hitting a woman or whatever, but it's always the guys that can't handle themselves, that couldn't do it against a male. So they take that frustration out on a woman. You know what I mean?
I just thought of this. Saturday night after the wrestling tournament, I'm in the hotel bar having a couple drinks. My wife went up. Moscow Mules.
Through a straw?
Through a straw.
Oh,
two straws because they were little. There's me and my one of my friends whose daughter was also wrestling, and there's a group of guys from California, and they brought their sons down.
Those lefties. I know where this is going.
Yeah. No. They were cool.
Gay, and they were trying to
No, they were cool. They were super cool. But one of them was a cop. And anyways, we were talking. But one of them had met War Machine. At some point. I only thought of this because we were talking about guys beating up girls. But he's one of those tough guys that did beat up a girl. But he apparently. I didn't know that he had always been crazy. I thought like he had gotten crazy later on, but he was like, he had met War Machine and they were at like some party and War Machine was going like off on a rampage and people were just scattering because he was going absolutely crazy. Like apparently that guy shouldn't have been on the streets for a long time.
It's generally a hint to somebody's mental state when they legally change their name to War Machine.
Do you know that piece of shit that he beat up before he beat up Christy Mack didn't like call the cops? Like that guy left and like went to his business and never told anybody.
Hold on. So there was there was Christy Mack and a guy. Yeah. So he beat the guy up.
He beat the dog shit out of the guy for a long time. And then that guy either escaped or War Machine let him go. But he had them both kidnapped. And somehow the guy ended up getting out. And didn't tell anybody for a long time. He left poor Christy Mack in that house with a crazed War Machine for like a pretty long time.
He more than likely was out of his mind on like cocaine or meth or something like that. Lost his mind, didn't know what he was doing. I mean, he's doing some serious time. Did he get life? I know he got a very long stretch.
Yeah, he got a long time. But he, like that guy that War Machine beat up left when however he got out. I don't remember because I watched the trial because it was so crazy. That guy went to like his business, like got in his car, drove across Vegas, went to his business, called a friend who had a friend that was a cop. And then that guy showed the whole time. Christy Mack is stuck in that house with War Machine's absolute insane ass just going ballistic. He crushed her. He almost killed her. That's insane.
Yeah. No, it is. Well, he's in the right place. You know, there's some people out there, they're just like that. They're just psychopathic, violent maniacs, and you can't help them. I know a few people, you know, back home, there's a few people, they'll never change. They're just violent. You know what I mean? And like they get off on it.
It's just wired differently.
There's just some people out there, and their first thing is to go to violence, and they get off on it, and they enjoy it. And certainly when it's a woman, what a piece of shit. So I hope he rots in his cell.
Sorry
anyway,
for all the weird turn we took there. My bad.
This is what happens when we let Harrington and Anthony take over the show. My God. Now, this means always looking at the always looking at the notes, trying to move the conversation on. This is what happens, guys.
Yeah, if you don't, then I mean, next thing you know, everyone's searching Christy Mack's Twitter. You're welcome.
Exactly. I guess we'll do a couple of questions and wrap this baby up.
Yeah. Before I take it off the rails again.
Yeah, exactly. You do look like you just did a tour in Afghanistan, though, which I have done.
I'm telling you, go check out their Instagram. They got some really dope stuff.
What's it called?
Tack Hunt Fish. I follow.
Well, if I'm ever doing a movie that's set in Iraq, Afghanistan, or somewhere like that, I'll give.
Well, they got a lot of cool stuff. They got a lot of cool stuff.
I like the shirt. I like the shirt a lot.
I wish I had my robe. I've been wearing this robe they sent me. We talked about this. I'm a good robe guy. Yeah.
I love a good robe. All right, guys, I want to tell you about Kochava, which is one of our newest sponsors. And I am telling you, this supplement, this super blend of superfoods and greens and proteins and everything that you need for your body is amazing. Listen, long gone are the days now where you have to go in and you got to have a protein powder, you got to have your super greens, you got to have your probiotics, your adaptogens, your antioxidants. Kochava has blended it all together in one. It gives you everything that your body craves, and you will feel your absolute best. And the good thing is, they are delicious. They are absolutely beautiful. It's creamy, smooth, and it comes in 5 delicious flavors. They've got the chocolate, the vanilla, the chai, the matcha, and the coconut acai. Listen, as I said, before you had to have your protein. Well, this has 25 grams of plant protein per serving. And as I said, it's got the superfoods, it's got the greens, the proteins, the antioxidants, the adaptogens, and the probiotics. And let me tell you, you feel fantastic after this. I'm really noticing a difference in my recovery from lifting weights. It's really helping with the protein synthesis. You feel great afterwards. You are energized throughout the day. I'm going to the bathroom nice and regularly, and it looks good when it's coming out. Anyway, moving on from that because it's disgusting, but this stuff is fantastic. Get it all in one. Get all the goodness and all the vitamins, minerals, proteins that your body needs in one little scoop of Kochava, and you can get 10% off for a limited time. So right now, go to Kochava.com, Kachava, Kochava.com/believe. You'll get 10% off your first order. Kochava.com/believe. Did I ever tell you about the time I went to Afghanistan with Carlos Condit, Uriah Faber?
I think you did. Did you and Condit get into it over there?
No, we didn't. No, Condit knocked somebody out in the special forces.
Okay, yeah.
But it was great. What a trip that was, flying around Afghanistan on the back of Black Hawk, me. Black Hawk helicopters firing the guns and stuff.
No shit.
We did a lot of cool stuff, and we met all the troops and just trying to raise the morale a little bit. Yeah, it was a.
I've always wanted to do one of those, like those
USO tour.
Yeah, the USO tours. I've always wanted to do one. I just never had the opportunity yet. I would love to do it though.
I think they still do them quite frequently. You should do one. It was amazing. And I told you that they brought my brother out, right? I told you that story. Yeah, no, so I got to see him, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself. So my brother was serving in Afghanistan when they gave me the opportunity to go. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, how's it going to be? They said, first class all the way. I thought, all right, great. It was first class all the way until I got to Afghanistan and we were living in a tent. And I'm like, what's this? And they went, well, first class all the way. You're in a war zone, Michael. There's no Four Seasons in Afghanistan. Yeah. Anyway, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. But one thing I asked before I went, I said, is there any chance that I could get to see my brother while I'm out there, because he's in the British Army and he's serving? And they said, we'll try. And when we got there, they said, listen, Afghanistan's a huge country. There's no way we can make that happen. So he's right at the other end of the country. I said, okay, fair enough. It was just a thought. So we did a lot of stuff. We did some seminars, with the soldiers and stuff like that. And it was great. It was an amazing experience to get to see firsthand what these guys go through. Sadly, we were a part of a couple of processions where they bring back some fallen soldiers and stuff like that. It's real shit, man. It's awful. And we had this big... There was like a big ceremony on one day, and there was tons of people there, and everyone was all dressed in their formal attire. And we were all up at the front. Myself, Uriah Faber, Carlos Condit, BJ Penn. And we all got to say a few words and say thank you for your service and etc. Stuff like that. And then the guy running the whole thing on the microphone says, Mr. Bisping, we have a special surprise for you now. And then my brother walks in from the back of the room. And he's all dressed in his official stuff, and he walks down the middle. It's like I was getting married, and I was surprised. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like my brother was going to marry Uriah Faber, BJ Penn, Carlos Condit. We were all there, like, who gets to go first? And he's walking up through the middle, and everyone, a massive round of applause, and we had a big fucking hug and stuff. It brought a tear to my eye. I was crying because I'm a little softy. It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful they did that, and I'm so grateful they made it a surprise as well, because they never told me. It was such a surprise, man. And then Adam was able to join me for the rest of the trip, like 3 or 4 days. We went around everywhere. We went touring. He came with us. We went and met some warlords in Afghanistan. We gave some
crazy.
food. Yeah, we gave some, like, I was giving, there was tons of kids on the other side of this fence. And, I was giving them like candy bars and stuff like that. And they were like, don't feed them. I'm like, come on, fucking hell. There's a ton of candy bars there. So I'm throwing the candy bars. They were begging for food and stuff. And then, they went running away when a soldier came. They said, military help. And they ran off. It was awful to see the kids like that,
Right.
And then when Adam was leaving, because he had to go back to his post to do his job, there's a Bagram Air Base. It's huge. It's insane. I had no idea what it was like. You go around it. There's like, you can get a massage. There's a barber's. There's a Dairy. Is it Dairy Queen? Dairy Queen, Subway, McDonald's. Do you know what I'm like? What the fuck is this? We're in the middle of.
You're like this whole time.
This is amazing. And they had a massive souvenir store. And in the souvenir store, they had all kinds of stuff, like cool stuff. And I'm going through it with Adam, and I'm like buying everything I could. That's my little brother.
Yeah, for him.
Just for him to give him. Get some. He's like, Mike, that's enough. I don't need this. And it was my guilt because I felt awful. I'm jumping on a bloody first class ticket out of here and going home. And I'm leaving my little brother in a goddamn fucking war zone. Do you know what I mean? So I was buying my guilt off. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's amazing what those people give up.
Yeah, if I get the opportunity, I will jump on it.
Yeah, hopefully somebody hears this and makes an offer, because they still do these quite regularly.
You know who's done a bunch of them is Sam Alvey and Ashley Evans Smith. Have done a bunch of them. I always think it's super cool seeing their pictures and stuff.
I honestly can't remember who it is. There's someone that we both know, and he's quite instrumental in making these happen. But the name's escaping me right now. But
I hope hope they hear this.
Yeah, I hope they hear it.
So wear this shirt.
You will, and you'll fit right in. BYMpod@gmail.com. That is the address if you want to send a question in. Please make them fun, make them interesting, make them original and brief, to the point.
And if you're listening on Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the show. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new episode drops. And if you want to catch over 400 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get yourself a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
All right. So first question we got here today is from Noel Castro.
Hey guys, Noel again, here from Florida. Just got my gun in my right hand, I got my Bible in the left, pack gator in the back, 6-pack of Busch Light. Woo! No, but seriously.
Hell yeah, brother.
About the 6th round implementation that maybe could help out in cases of split draws, majority draws. Just let me know what you guys think about that. How maybe it would change fights and how it would affect fighters and so on and so forth. Thanks.
Well, there you go. Perfect example of a question. How we say, make them entertaining, funny, but a great question. I think that the reason he's asking that question is because we just had the draw Shevchenko versus Grasso. The reality is that we don't see that very often. I mean, how many times can you think of a draw, Anthony? What's popping into your mind? Draws. Figueiredo and Moreno, Shevchenko, Grasso. I can't think of any more. There has been.
I mean, BJ Penn. No, Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard. There's a couple other ones, couple girl fights. Less than a handful, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't come about very often, that kind of situation. I understand what he's saying because it would have an opportunity to fix that. But what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great idea. I love it, actually. I love the sixth. I love the sixth round. I think that there's a way logistically you can work it out. You can throw something in the contract that says if the fight goes to a draw, you'd have to figure it out pretty quick, so that there's not more than a minute of downtime. But I do like the finality of it, of just being able to have an answer right away and someone always leave. Could you imagine how cool that would have been? Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Tyron Woodley, their first fight, they're both kind of gassed, they're beat up a little bit. And then like Buffer comes on the microphone, "We go again." And then they just run one more, and there's a way you could like logistically could figure that out. And like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh, and you could like financially, you could make it make sense. Like if you guys go to a sixth round here, we'll bump your pay a little bit.
Hold on, Bry. Yeah, no, sorry, Harrington. Anthony, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. McCall, Demetrius Johnson, John Fitch, BJ Penn, Travis Brown, Chet Congo. There's a lot. Norman Park.
Antonio, like Bigfoot, Silva, and Mark Hunt was a draw? I didn't realize
Yeah, the first one. I was there.
I didn't realize that.
I was there in Brisbane.
Kevin Casey.
Yeah, there's a lot. I had no idea.
Sixth round. We need a sixth round. Shogun Paul Craig was a draw. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's right. It was.
Yeah. We need an extra round.
It's like on The Ultimate Fighter, they have a sudden death, don't they?
Yeah. I don't know that you would want to do it during regular fights though. Because that would mess up the scheduling. But I think in title fights or maybe main events.
As you say, Bruce Buffer kicks a couple of legs out, does his little stretch, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we go to sudden death," and it really goes dark.
It goes dark and crazy.
Lights up again. Let's fucking go.
I just keep imagining like Adesanya like in this crazy, because he's always like such a character when he's in there, and it goes dark and he's walking back and forth, his eyes swollen, his nose is bloody, and he mouths something real crazy like, "I'm ready to die for this," and like Pereira's on the other side, like, "I will kill for this." Yeah. It would like just the theatrics of it would be fucking insane.
There would be I'm sure there's some liabilities or limitations, pardon me, in terms of TV scheduling, going back to what we were talking about at the start. But in theory, in a perfect world, I'm all about that. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Brian, what else, bud?
All right, so next one we got here is from Chris Hughes.
Hey there, Mike, Anthony, Brian, Harrington. It's Chris from Sheffield in the UK. I've just watched some highlight stuff, caught the highlights from Bisping winning the title, and I've got a flashback to when I was watching it live on board a nuclear submarine. So my question is, where is the strangest place you've watched the UFC from? And also watching highlights, I saw sort of things like you get Ngannou's uppercuts, Rampage's power bombs back in Pride, Crow Cop with the head kicks. What's the single most devastating attack you've seen, and how much would you pay for it to happen to Harrington? Keep it clear, guys.
From the nuclear submarine.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I would part ways with a significant amount of cash. In fact, I wouldn't. We all love Harrington. We'll drop the act. But to see Dan Henderson H-bomb him the way that he did to me, to drop him like that and then fly through the air and go, fucking.
I wish I could think of something better, but that's a
Crow
pretty good
Cop's
one.
head kick.
Yeah, Diego Brandao on The Ultimate Fighter flying across. I don't remember who he dropped. Do you remember that when he flew across and the dude's head was kind of stuffed up against the fence and he just like a flying forearm?
It might have been Steven Seiler or somebody like that. I forget.
Yeah, maybe it was Seiler. Yeah.
I coached at that season, so I was there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was pretty fucking brutal. That one sticks out to me all the time. I don't know why.
Rampage's slam though against Ricardo Arona in Pride. That was epic.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one too.
Was it Don Fry and TK? Were they just smacking each other in the corner of the ring? That was a good one. Oh dear.
Crow Cop getting head kicked was pretty nasty too by Gonzaga.
Bill Gonzaga. I was there. I just fought. That was wild.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Wild. What's the weirdest place you've consumed the UFC?
I consume the UFC in every part of my life. So
yeah,
the weirdest.
I don't think I've got nothing to top a nuclear submarine.
Yeah, nothing to top that.
So it's not even weird. In a casino in England, for some reason I went to that. The casinos in England aren't like the casinos in Vegas or in the States. They're like very, very small, tiny little places. You go, but they're everywhere. You go in them. There's like they're not particularly impressive. Do you know what I mean? They're just a bunch of bloody deadbeats. But you can go there and get a late drink. When the nightclub's shut, you can go to the casino and still have a beer. You know what I mean? And then watch the fights afterwards. So maybe I'll be there soon. Maybe I'll be there in Manchester and London when we do the show Tales from the Octagon too. You never know. Stand by. Tickets on sale soon. We got one more, Bright, or should we go about our business and enjoy our lives?
We have a strange one here from our favorite, Roland Vixen.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Fuck yes.
Hello, C. Smith, no homo, and sexy Bisping, no homo. This is Roland Vixen from Germany. 3 categories, and you tell me if you are above or below average in those categories. Let's go. Intelligence, attractiveness, and voice.
Hold on. Rebecca just walked in, so she distracted me. But so
are we above or below the average in those 3 categories? Is that the question, Brian?
That is
the
question.
What was the first one?
Intelligence, attractiveness, and voice.
Voice. Fucking hell.
Below, above.
Intelligence. I mean, I'd like to think I've got some decent logic. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of book smarts, I left school at 16, guys. I'm making this shit up as I go along.
That's where I'm at. Below.
Attractiveness, I'm all right. But I'm at the average, above or below. Probably below. You know what I mean?
Too.
Maybe before my fight career. Do you know what I mean? When I wasn't covered in scars and had one eye. And then what was it? Voice.
Voice. I don't know what that means, but I use it a lot. So I'm going to go above.
I'm going to say, yeah. I'll go with you.
I got a big voice. We got a big voice.
Whiny ass fucking Bisping with his accent, getting my fucking commentary. It's a comment I see a lot. So maybe not. Rebecca, don't laugh at that. She's giggling away in the background. You're officially fired.
You're fired.
I had Rebecca in the gym this morning in the garage, putting her through a pace, Anthony.
There we go.
Trying to get her ready.
Get her in a fight.
Getting her in shape before I kill her off. You know what I mean? That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, of course, to Anthony and Brian and Harrington in the background, Jamahal Hill for joining us, and you guys for supporting the show. See you Thursday.